I've released so many films, Komal, and it's just been this particular film, I think, really affected me. So I even remember telling somebody, I said, I'm very open to criticism. I love to hear what is wrong with the film. I'm academic about it. But just for 2-3 days, if you didn't like it, don't tell me. I said, just don't tell me. I'm too fragile and vulnerable. And I don't want to express it because I'm meant to be the senior leader of this pack. So if I show myself, and I remember we had a fan screening. It was on Thursday night, on the 8th night, and we had a fan screening. The media watched it as well. And there was a couple of messages that were so wonderful to read, and a chat we had with you also that was very heartening. And then there were some messages that came in that were completely extreme, and I just felt like my blood pressure had dropped. I just felt like, oh my God, what if we've gone completely wrong? And this is something I couldn't even share with Ayan or the team. It was just stress, because it was like stress as a parent to the film. Like I'm just stressed for all these kids who've given their life for the film. That night I didn't sleep a wink. I literally didn't sleep a wink. It wasn't that I was crying. It's just that I could feel like this is really a big deal. It is a new universe, and there is going to be extreme reactions. But then the film, just like the process, really fought at the box office. It's really quite heartening to see how the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then the Monday may have lessened, then again it was back up on Wednesday, Thursday, then went up on Friday. The second Friday was higher than the Thursday, which is very rare. Then the weekend went up again. Then we had cinema day. It's just like literally the film was fighting, the audience was rooting. It was like I felt like just the journey, the eventuality was the same. The result was the same.
Ayan, since you are so open to criticism like Karan, and you like to absorb what people are saying, have you tried to analyze how come for this film there was so much of negative reviews? Ultimately, the box office counts, but in those initial days, reviews do matter.
Sir, I'll be honest, I have not yet absorbed all the negative reviews. So when you say, oh, there was so many negative reviews, my feeling is that it was 50-50. There was not, it's not like we got, like you gave us a very nice review, and there was a lot of support. And my approach to it has been,
I gave you positive reviews because Karan sent me promised me a check.
You'll say these things are a joke, and I'll be trolled for the remaining
It's a joke. It's a joke.
And I'm like, please don't troll me about this now. I'm done with receiving trolls for various other things.
Sorry.
So my approach, sir, has been that I am waiting still for a few more weeks to go, and for Brahmastra to really completely settle down. It was such a new beast in the jungle, such a new kind of film that, oftentimes when you go to watch a film for the first time, as much as you are commenting on what's in the film, you're also commenting on what is not in the film, what you imagine to be in the film, what the film is missing, instead of just accepting it for what it is. So in general, my attitude is I am very open to criticism. I have heard stuff, that the dialogues didn't really work as well. People weren't 100% convinced by the love story, this, that. So I'm hearing it, but I'm also waiting for enough time for the film to truly settle, to release on streaming, release on satellite, and then to really make sense of all my learning from what people have said, because I don't want to learn the wrong lessons. If I take, very honestly, there's a lot of people writing about film, and I'm happy to hear about it, but I don't know if they have a pulse on what is truly working and not working on a film. And I think you can go very wrong when you start over-listening to everything as well. So I'm trying to make sure that the right feedback reaches me, so I can learn from that for the future.
Is it possible, I'm just asking you and Karan both, Karan, you can also answer. Is it possible that you all concentrated very heavily on the visual effects because it was something unique? Indian cinema hadn't seen this kind of visual effects. So, on purpose, intentionally, you all concentrated less on the script part and more on the visual appeal part?
So I think maybe it's possible that some of that happened just naturally.
Yes, that's what I mean.
It is possible, but truth be told, we worked very hard on the story and the script as well. And we were constantly working on actually improving the film right till the end. There were sequences that we had in the film which we didn't feel happy with, and we reshot a couple of not VFX sequences, but story sequences. No, sir, I think we put our best foot forward on part one. I realize that there are a few departments in which people feel we could have done better, and we will do better.
Karan, you'd like to add?
Also, as I said, people were looking, and much of the, whenever the criticism came, and I think it was looking at it as just a feature film, Brahmastra. There are 3 films. So a lot of like the bits and pieces of this film that needed to be there that all actually pay rich dividends in part 2. So, and part 3. So there had to be backstories. There had to be, the love story therefore had to be speedened. We were relying on chemistry. So in fact, there's a large section that believes, oh, the love story shouldn't have been there. But love stories right at the end of the film, you realize that love is the biggest Brahmastra to have.
What Amitabh says.
Yeah, it's right what Mr. Bachchan says. So there was so much of story, the backstory, everything had to be put in part 1. In any universe, the first film has a lot of putting in stuff for you to then cash in on that story-wise. I'm not saying that people are right or wrong in their assessment, but I feel that they were not looking at it holistically. They were looking at it very, very, very individualistically as just one film. And that's why all the learnings that he said he will, of course, we will absorb and learn, because we are, I think, aware enough to understand that it's important to hear praise and criticism in equal measure. But there is a lot that was actually in the film because of the other 2 films. And that is something I don't think lots of people were kind of accounting for. It was the way Ayan pitched that narration with the team at Disney. It was really the way he sat on the floor for 2.5 hours and just narrated the vision to the entire corporate structure of Disney at that time. And I don't think they had experienced something like that. With his laptop open, and Ayan's narrations are always very theatrical. You know, he's very, very theatrical in his narration. So it was the way he pitched it. I think everyone was sold at his vision in that moment, because I think Ayan, and I have to say it's one of his strengths, and I can't wait for him to get here because I feel like I'm some, some proxy for Ayan Mukerji. I really
it
wanted
can't
to
be a
come.
proxy. You're the producer of the film. So
No,
I think
but
that's...
more than anything else, it's really his baby. And I feel like Ayan can sell, he can sell ice cream to an Eskimo. Yeah, he has that kind of, I think he has that ability in his very humble, passionate self. I think he can really manage to move mountains. So I think that's what he did. At that point of time, it was amazing how they just came on board for such a massive, massive mammoth film. And they also said this is not just about part 1, it's about a trilogy.
Okay, they understood that.
Yes, they understood that obviously that the money is going into a 3-film universe. And also it's not just about the 3 films. The Astraverse is about many, many, many other films as well. Within the film, we've already shown you there's of course the Nag Astra, there's Vanar Astra, Jal Astra. There are so many. Each Astra can be a massive movie and a franchise in itself. So can you imagine what this one film can really do if we hit all the right, make the right moves in the future? It's actually really a creation of a marvelous universe.
Exactly. So like Marvel in Hollywood. But tell me, I didn't understand the if. It's a very tiny word, but you said if. Why that if?
If we get it, because one can never talk about creativity with assurance. Right now, we can only say that the desire is to really, really, really push the envelope, the boundaries with each film. With the second film, the learnings we have from the audience reaction of part 1 will all go into part 2, and then part 3, and then the Astraverse. All these learnings are very critical. We were doing something that was completely novel and new. And when we got the feedback, the good and the bad, we took it all with a lot of strength and positivity, only because we knew that the process of learning in a film like this is never ending. It's endless. And we learned so much from the audience. We read every review. We read all the audience feedback on social media from audiences directly. So Ayan is somebody who's very academic, and he's heard each and every person out. And now there are so many fan theories. It's amazing how some very clever things are being written by fans themselves. And I'm like, I think that's what even Disney and the Marvel Universe have done. They've actually incorporated screenplay points within their narrative from fans directly, because fans get attached to the narrative, have their own stories. There's so many questions about Alia's character Isha, about her presence in 2.